Good morning and welcome to those of you who could join us this morning for a training in MarGo. We're super excited to have our guest here. She is actually a client engagement specialist for MarGo. So we're in no better hands than with our guest speaker, Wendy. And I know that from my own story because I'm doing a couple of Facebook parties right now, and she is on vacation in Florida. Look how pretty her coloring is this morning.
Oh my gosh.
But she was able to help me, and she was even on the computer at 11 o'clock the other night, and we did a Zoom together so she could help me get going. So you are definitely an engagement specialist, Wendy. So thank you very much. And we're excited to have you with us today to explain MarGo to our team.
Well, thank you. Okay, so you ready for me to take over?
Ready.
Okay, and like our meeting on Monday, if you will keep an eye on any questions that pop up in chat, and feel free to interrupt me.
Okay.
But I will stop at the end of each page and ask if there are questions as well. So if anyone who's watching does have a question, you can go ahead and just pop that in the chat, and we'll get to it before we leave that screen that we're on.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so would you like me to show that intro video, Sarah Lynn?
I think all of our team has watched the intro video, and so I don't think that's necessary, and we can go get it if they haven't. But a lot of us have been playing with MarGo, watching some of the videos.
So this was the one tab I did not already have it.
Oh, that's okay. One of the things that I'll say as kind of a starter to this too, while you're getting your tab ready, several of us had been looking at the MarGo videos, and it says, you know, this price for that, and this price for that, and this price for that. And so we've been asked by, I think that was you that even said that, hold on the fact that the pricing is not for us necessarily, because Rick has already agreed on a certain pricing. There's one fee that I can see so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wendy, of $5 per party, but I totally feel it's worth it. So we'll talk about that. But that's why the videos of MarGo, you can watch them, but be careful. Don't get yourself overwhelmed, because there's some pricing that's not quite for us. Correct, Wendy?
Right. That is not applicable to True Aura, because you are contracted with your brand.
Okay.
So the usage is paid for all consultants within True Aura. And the $5 per event would be the only upcharge, and that is optional. So you make a decision event by event if you want to take advantage of the features that are included with that. Okay, so you've got our website landing page, and we're going to demonstrate this on a computer. I know you are app-based on a phone or tablet, which is fine. You can use it that way. MarGo is easiest to work with, however, if you can be on a desktop or laptop. So you would just simply go to our MarGo homepage, and you would click the login. And I'm already logged in, so it's going to bring up this my event landing page. So these are the two events that I have set up that we used on Monday. And when you log in, this is the first screen you're going to see. So if you hadn't done anything yet, your screen is going to be blank like this. And the very first thing you would want to do is tap on Create New Event, which shows you your 3 event options. So I'm going to cancel that real quick, and I'll go back so you can see me do it again. You would just click on the words Create New Event at the top, and you can choose in-home, you could choose a virtual, or you could choose an online event. So we all understand what an in-home event is. I want you to think about a virtual event as an in-home event. So you say, we're going to get together Friday at 7 p.m., but you may have had a Facebook party that's been going on for the week leading up to that date. What you're telling your guests and what MarGo will require of you is what date and time are you going to go live within this virtual event. So you're essentially taking your products and your knowledge and information to share like you would on an in-home event, but you're going to share it virtually online. So that is the difference between a virtual and an online event. If you have an event going on, and let's say, you're going to go live, but you don't necessarily need to give it one specific date and time, it doesn't affect that your ability to go live within the event. That's a Facebook feature. So you could just say, I'm going to start this event, on Sunday, and it's going to end the following Saturday. And then throughout this event, you can create an image that says, I'm going to go live at 5 o'clock today. Be sure you tune in. But it's more spontaneous. You're not telling anyone when it begins, when the actual party would be, as if it were an in-home. So these two I really think about the same way. This one you're in person, this one you're virtual. This you're in and out. People can come and go as they please. So those are the three types of events that we offer. And then on your screen, you have at the top where you can see my cursor it says tips for this step. So as you are beginning to work within MarGo, go ahead and click on the tips within this step. And if we have one or if we have 5 videos that explain what's happening here, it will give you the video that you can watch. This one's 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So we have tried where possible to keep these real brief, but it explains exactly what you're doing at this event. And it also gives you some additional information and tips and that type of thing. Okay, so do we have any questions? You need to unmute, Sarah Lynn.
Just a suggestion that you told us the other day that I love is that you said when you go to use this the first couple of times, make sure you use the tips, the videos, yes, the first couple of times, because they will then help you learn each page. And I have been doing that, and I really appreciate that suggestion because it's been helpful to me. It's pretty basic stuff, but it helps you to be more confident when you use it because you'll know you're doing it correctly and to all it's capable of. That's
right.
Statement.
Right. And the tips, the first few times you log into MarGo, you may be a little bit overwhelmed, but it's really not difficult to use. It's not at all. It's just a lot of information because you're saying it for the first time.
Right.
But you work through 2 or 3 events and it's second nature. You'll understand exactly what, and we don't make crazy changes, like when you update your operating system and all of a sudden all your buttons are in different places. And we don't do that without a lot of warning ahead of time.
Okay, cool. The other thing that we're wondering about is when it comes to the virtual party or the online party, do you at MarGo know what is the percentage of what do people for the most part use more than another? Because we're new to these virtual and online parties. Would you have an idea of that?
I don't know what our statistics are for which is used more. I will tell you, you are one of our only clients that have 3 options. Oh. So that's awesome.
Okay, cool.
I only have in-home or online. I don't have the virtual option. That doesn't mean I can't set it up to work like a virtual, but I don't have the convenience of it being preset for me.
Okay.
I don't think any of that matters truly to the success of an event.
Okay, good to know.
What is going to make your event successful is being present. And not just going in once or twice a day to check on comments and, that type of thing. Going live, even if it's just for, 5 minutes. Okay. At the beginning of your party, go in, introduce yourself, and keep it simple, and just think about it. And do all the same practices you would do as if this were people right in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's the best way for me to think about that. So I'm back now on the event landing page, and I wanted to point out that on the left-hand side, we have a menu, and you can control what you're seeing here. So I have all of the event status. I have all of those turned off right now. So if I wanted just to filter out what I've created, I can click the box, tap on go. This is, okay,
There it goes.
this is not my computer I'm using.
Uh-oh.
And you can see the ones that have created but not launched. Now, if I wanted to, now the difference between created and launched would be when the host is logged in and set up her account and done her thing. So if you come in, you know, you invite your host today and you go in 2 days later and it's still saying created, you need to get in touch with your host and find out why they haven't done their part yet.
Awesome.
Launched, then you can see my list gets bigger. And these are all of our test events, and they just kind of hang out in here because they're not real. But if you wanted to see any that had closed, you could turn off these other options. And then you can see the ones that have closed, any that had canceled, any that had postponed. And you can highlight 1 or 2 of these, or you could highlight all of them.
Wow, this is really cool. Every time you show me something new, I love it all the more.
And if you wanted to narrow down your dates so that you only saw what you had done this month, you can change that here as well. And just a simple tap in that field pops your calendar up, so you're not having to type anything, which is great. You just simply go down and I can see, you know, what have I created March 1st to, and it's a large range. I guess it's about a 6-month range. And then go back to, I guess that was April that I chose, to April 30th. And then I can see everything that I have happening just this month.
That's cool.
And again, here's the tips as well. So this goes through all of this. If you watch these and it talks about money, don't pay any attention to that.
Right.
That does not apply. So, all right. So now I'm going to shut this window and head over into the one. I've already shown you that. So I have one that's pre-set up. And I chose the $5 upgrade option to show I can show you every feature.
Okay.
But I do want to explain what you have at the $0. You have the email capabilities, the posting to Facebook, a PDF that can be downloaded and printed, and a socialgram. So a socialgram is an image, a JPEG image of the invitation that you can save to your phone or your computer, and your host can do the same. A socialgram only goes to the host and to the consultant, and then that can be sent to everyone in the host's guest list by the host. It's always better if the host does it, because the host friends know her and not necessarily you. Okay. So that's what a socialgram is. It's just an image that you can text. If you have 10 people that you want to send it to, it would be 10 separate text messages. So with the $5 upgrade, what you're getting, you get those 4 basic features, but then you get a text message option. So we do not at this time offer the socialgram in connection with the text message option. So you could essentially have this feature, something similar, and just use it through the socialgram. What the text message does for you is, if you think about any text messages you get where it will, at the very end of the message, it will say, you know, reply stop to opt out. So what we've done is we've created MarGo to talk through this message, and Sarah Lynn gets an invitation and she's like, oh yes, I want to go to Wendy's party. So she can reply yes on her text message, and it will come back into MarGo and record that guest activity.
Wow.
If she can't go, it will say Sarah Lynn can't make it. If she's not sure, it will tell me maybe. If she says no, it will register her no, and then she can reply stop, and she won't get any messages. So anytime a branded company, it could be Old Navy, it could be any market, you know, any business, sends you a text message, even could be considered unsolicited. You have to give them the option to opt out. Okay. To meet that legal requirement. So that's the difference between a text and a socialgram. And that's why I also say your host should send the socialgram and not you, because you're representing the business.
That makes
You're
sense.
not giving them a way to opt out.
That makes sense.
And now a text message also is just words. There is no picture associated with that. We do have on our to-do list an upgrade for this so that it will tie in the socialgram with a text. So then you would be able to send the invitation and the words that say yes, no, maybe, and stop. But right now they're two individual features. Okay, so the next one we have is a voice broadcast, which is essentially you connect your phone, you validate your phone with MarGo's capabilities, and it will call you and it will pop up a script that says, these are the words you can say, hi, this is Wendy, I'm Sarah Lynn's True Aura consultant, we're looking forward to seeing you at the party. Remember, it's this Friday the 9th at 7 p.m. We'll see you there. So you record this message once, and anyone who's in the guest list with a phone number will get that message.
Wow.
So it takes that task of, having to make reminder calls or that type of thing and turns it into one call, which is also wonderful. The mailer is our postcard. I believe it's a 5x7. It's a beautiful postcard, full color, matches the themes that you choose within your event. And in addition to the $5, you're charged for the stamp to mail that. But it goes from our, from your computer, it goes directly to our print house, which is in Colorado. And they print off these invitations and they put them in the mail for you. So you're not running back and forth to the post office. And then our final feature that we offer as the upgrade is a white page assistance. So if you've ever gone on to whitepages.com and you type in, Wendy Salati, and it pops up my name and possibly my phone number, you can just simply click. It will have the information off to the right, and it will say add address, add phone. So you add that information in with just a quick touch of a button rather than having to type it all out. So it really does, you can speed through that process. And those features are available for your host as well. So when your host goes in to enter her guest list, if you have upgraded, then your host can use that white pages feature.
Wow.
So do we have any questions on this screen before I move on?
Just to reiterate, so the voice broadcast, did I hear you correctly? Because I think it's exciting and I think it's important to make sure we hear that. We don't have to figure out what to say. You've got scripts that actually come with the phone call, which is super cool. But there's real power in them hearing our voices for that. So that's awesome.
Right.
And then the mailer, let's see, what was it called? The mailer, the 49 cents. Just to reiterate on that too, so we have a PDF in the free area.
Yes, you do.
We can take the time to mail a PDF out and use it, use the PDF for the party. But those of us who are too busy to do that kind of stuff, 49 cents might be very well worth it when I'm not creating them, stuffing them in an envelope, sending it away. So the cool thing is we get the choice of, you're not locked out of a pretty mailer because you'll have it in the PDF, but there's an option if you want to save yourself some time, and lots of times that's important to busy women, and then to know that they have the option of the mailer if you spent the $5 extra, correct?
Correct. Yep. And then the other thing to note there, let's say your guest, goes crazy and does what you say, and she has 50 people in her guest list. The mailer will only go to those that have an address.
Nice.
So, if there are only 10 people with an address, and you can host coach, ahead of time and say, put for the ones that and what's great about this is we're tapping into every form of communication.
Yes.
I prefer text message. You may prefer a phone call. This guest may prefer an email. So we're hitting every style, and that gives you the best results as far as the visibility of the event and the potential for even greater success with that event.
Awesome.
Now with the mailer, you could say to your host, those who like to receive a piece of mail, I know that about my friends. I can think about who my friend,
Yeah.
my 50 friends that I invite. I'm like, oh yes, I know my friend Laura loves to get stuff in the mail. She can't stand anything electronic. They can use it selectively as well. It's not mandatory to fill every blank in. So now I'm going to move on to our next screen, which is where we start to have fun. This is this is the second step. So let me show you here. There are 5 steps to creating your event. Your first step is selecting what type of event you're having. So that's just a simple, split-second step. Your second step is entering in the information for your host, and you fill all of this in. Now, while we're on this page, I want to point out that you have a previous button at the back. So if you move through to step 5 and you think, oh shoot, I put the wrong number in, she wanted me to use her cell number, not her home number, you want to make sure you work backwards through the pages using previous rather than the back at the top. If you click the back arrow at the top, you lose all information and you have to start over. So you just want to make sure you use previous. And if you have an event where you have a co-host, we have that option there. You just tap the box and it pulls up all the information to add your co-host in. And now this is step 3. So on step 3, you are putting in the details for the event. The date and time, if it's, an event, if it's an in-home event, which is what I selected, and you can see that right here under event details, you can see I have an event type, which is a home event, who my host is, the date and time, and then the theme that was chosen. Now you won't see the theme because I preloaded this. You wouldn't see necessarily all of these blanks filled in until you had reached all those steps. So if it's required, an in-home party is going to require a host address. If it's a virtual or an online party, it's not going to require this information. So you're only seeing that right now because I have selected this as an in-home event. Your event ordering website, there typically is a unique URL that is created for each host that you have. And that would be created in your back office with True Aura. You would simply copy that information and paste it right in here where the ordering website is. And I find it easiest, I work on a Mac, so my phone and my computer and my laptop all talk to each other, so I could be on any device. And I find it real easy to use the Notes app that is on, and I'm sure Microsoft has something very similar.
It does.
And then you can just, this is just a tip on how to manage these.
Right.
You can just copy it. This is Sarah Lynn's party. Here's the URL for her Facebook event. Here's the URL for her to place an order. And then you have it in one place where you can just go back in, click copy, and then paste, and you're good to go.
And just so that the consultants know about this, we don't have an individual party rewards at this moment. That will probably be coming when we have a hostess program. So at the moment, when I set mine up, I just set them up as my personal website because we all have our own personal websites. So
Yep. And we do have a few clients that are set up the way you are. So if it's always the same, then that's a no-brainer for you.
Right. Hey,
okay.
Before you go on to the next page, so you know how we have the picture chosen, turn back time, because you and I have talked, that's our favorite picture.
Love it.
Yep. So how can my hostess see these pictures? Is there a way that she can see these pictures before the party event starts?
So she could choose her own theme? No.
Okay. So here's a suggestion that I'll do with my team is I'll copy with snippet like the different themes. Is that okay with you guys? I don't know if that's, and then that way we can have it to be able to send our hostess on a form.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's totally fine with us.
Okay. I'll make that.
Yep. Now, some of the themes you may or may not see.
Right.
Depending on the type of event it is. So go into create one of each event.
Okay.
and do your snippet so you can see which themes are available for that type, for an in-home event versus an online event.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure if that's true with TrueAura, but I do know like the wording and stuff will change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we haven't gotten to yet, but that information will change. So you want to make sure if somebody wants turn back time,
right,
and it's only associated with an in-home event, and you send them that as an option for an online event, and it's not there,
right,
then you're like, oh, why didn't I think to do that? So
right.
just make sure you have a snippet for each type of event, and you'll be all set.
Okay, we have one other question.
Yes.
Jerry's asking, could you repeat the part about notes? So notes is through Apple systems, correct?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then through Android systems, you can use something called Gtasks if you have Google email, because that then talks to all your phones, your computer, everything also. And so, Wendy, repeat the advantage of keeping all that in one spot. I think that's what Jerry's asking.
Okay, so the advantage of having all of that information in one place is that you don't have to log in to a different app to retrieve the information. And it's something you're probably only going to have temporarily. And that's why when I mention notes or Gtask, that's why I say, because you can easily, it's like writing it on a sticky, and then you always have it available electronically to just copy and paste. And then when you're done, you just throw it away.
Right.
You just hit delete and it's gone.
And so
that's just a tip. That's how I manage my events in MarGo when I have multiple URLs, so that I don't have to keep logging back in to find out what that URL was for the Facebook event or the ordering website for, that one's easy for you because that's not going to change event to event. For me, mine changes with every host.
Right. And so what I suggest you do, our team, is make a contact in your phone. Mine's called Saralyn. It's actually called AA Saralyn TrueAura, because every time I want my website, all I do is open my contacts, copy it. It's always at the top. It's the second one from the top. Copy it, and then I can slam it right into here every time that I need it. It's everywhere at my fingertips. So you should make a contact called AA, so it's at the very top of the file. You don't have to go searching for it through your contacts. And then you have that information handy. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about when you're working electronically, you want to think about any task that you would do on paper and how can you make that happen with an electronic option.
Correct.
And then you'll be much happier. You're not having to dig around and look for that little piece of paper that got buried on your desk, or you're in your car and that paper's at home. You just want to think about how can you make, typically it's our phone because that's what we take everywhere. How can you make your phone be your notebook and your website and all of those things?
Right.
And you'll just be a much happier virtual consultant that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to click next, and we're going to move into step 4. Here's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
You have all of these gorgeous themes.
Mm-hmm.
These were created by TrueAura, so the pictures you see, everything is very professional. It all has your logo on it, and all of the words associated with these different themes are preloaded for you. So you're not going to have to think about, oh, what do I want to say this time?
Right.
It's all there. You can edit what's in there, but you don't have to create it from scratch. And so here is one of the examples. Like you wouldn't want, if you were having an in-home event with a host, launch party isn't going to be an option.
Right.
But you've got, all these other beautiful options here.
Yep.
So this is very simple. You go in, you say, oh, my host wants turn back time. You click on it, you get the green arrow. If they wanted time to party, you just tap on that one and you get the green arrow or the green check mark. So whichever has the green check mark is the one that you've selected. And you can see that change right up here as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
And now we're going to move on to step 5. And step 5 is where you're going to set up all of the information that's going to be on the invitation. So what you put here is not set in stone. You can still edit this information. So if you're in a hurry, you just want to get the event set up and move on to your next task and come back to this later, just go with what's defaulted. and then you can come back in later and change it up. So your headline is pre-written for you. Your call to action is pre-written. And again, you can see there are tips for this step. So you would want to watch that. Now this, I did this intentionally so you could see. With the mailer invitations, if you're less than 10 days from that actual in-home event, they're not going to mail because there's not enough time for it to get to the print house and get through the U.S. mail service to get to your invitees in time. So that's going to tell you, we're sorry you can't use this feature because it's within 10 days. So if your event was in 20 days, you would not get this message right here.
Got it.
And then the other thing you can do is you can set it up now, these communication dates, or you could select later for all of these and come back in and do that at another time. So if you're like, oh, didn't mean to select later for the last minute, you click on now and the date is still held there for you.
And the date is pre-put in also, correct? Based on,
yes.
I love that. Oh my word, to not have to do all that if we don't want
right. Yeah, you don't have to pull your calendar out. And even if you want to change it, a simple tap and you see the calendar. So you're not having to open your calendar and remember what's when. The socialgram. So we talked about this. This is the image, and it's gonna have this theme right up here, the images, with all of the invitation information, the date and the time and all of that. So the difference between the yes and the no here, if you want this to just be sent and you don't ever have to think about it again, you just say yes right here in this box, and it will go based on the days that are set up and selected here. So there's one for the initial, one for the mid, and one for the last minute. I will tell you, some hosts get confused. They'll say, why do you keep sending me this image? Why did I get that 3 times? So if that's the situation, that's where you would say no, and then you're going to set up that communication schedule in a separate module within MarGo.
Good to know.
And then finally, mailed invitations, it defaulted to no because it says you don't have enough time. So if you had enough time, you would have some different options here. And that's where it's good to watch the tips for this step because it explains all of that right in here.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so now we're done. Do we have any questions on this page?
I think we're good so far.
All right. So now I'm going to click Add Event. And once I click Add Event, the event becomes an event. So if you need to make date changes or that type of thing, then you would have to use a different feature to reschedule.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say later for this.
Okay.
Just so it'll let me move on. If for some reason, like here, Add Event, okay, I guess it didn't. But if there's an issue, it will pop up with a red thing and make you fix it.
Nice.
So your event has been created. So now do you want to set up your Facebook event? And I did not mention this at the beginning, but you can, and I recommend you set your Facebook event up before you create your event in MarGo, because then it's a simple pick from a list rather than having to stop what you're doing in MarGo and then go into Facebook and create it and then go back into MarGo to connect it. And Sarah Lynn asked me a great question the other day. You create this event. Typically, consultants create the event, and then once it's all set up and ready to go, then you invite your host to the event. Your host invites her friends. And some people may have more than one Facebook account. So you want to make sure you are logged into the Facebook account that you want that event to be created in.
Wendy,
and for most people,
I have you here, and since you're talking about it, could you open up a Facebook account and show them where that is on event? Because I couldn't find it, remember? And I'm pretty Facebook girl, big time. So if you could just show them quick while we're talking about it.
So when you go into Facebook, here's what I ate for dinner last night. That was the best meal.
I saw that.
That's grouper. Oh, it was so good. Okay, so when you go into Facebook, you probably will land on a page that looks like this, you know, where it has your picture up here, and this is our test Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily see events right here. You click on the one right next to your name that says home. And this brings you to all of the Facebook features. And then over here on the left-hand menu, you see the word events with a calendar. So you would just click on that word events, and then at the top it says create an event. So if you're not sure how to do that, Facebook does have tutorials as well that you could find on here.
It will teach them, but it's super easy.
Yeah, it is. It's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to make sure you're on your home screen, and then you can tap events, or you could even go down. This is where Sarah Lynn found it, where the word create is, and tap on the word event, and it's going to take you right to that event creation. And you don't need to choose a theme when you start. We have themes preloaded, the cover photos preloaded for you that match your theme that you choose in MarGo for your communication. Karen likes that. I saw you. So just leave it blank and go in and add it later.
Right.
So you're just
all I did for my hostess is put her name there, and then I picked a date. I hadn't even really talked to her yet because we can adjust that later.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, you just want to get it set up.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. I will go back over to my MarGo screen.
Thanks for doing that. I appreciate it.
Sure. So I'm just going to say no, because you know what it means if you say yes. You just have to do what I say.
The cool thing, just to reiterate on that, well, if you say yes, it then takes you, you slap the event. It's MarGo talks to Facebook, right, Wendy? Which is
yes, Facebook doesn't answer us, but MarGo does talk to Facebook. Right. Yeah, we don't have a two-way communication.
And what that means by that, when she's saying that, is if your hostess puts people into her event, which she will in the Facebook event, then I need to make sure her or I go add them to the MarGo party, right? And that's how they
right, and they may RSVP through that event as well. So then you can take that RSVP and add it into your MarGo guest activity, and then based on their answer, if they've said no, they're not going to come, you want to make sure you record that, because you don't want to keep sending them other types of communication, and potentially having them report you as a spammer.
So Wendy, do they only have to, a hostess, do they only have to load people into MarGo, because then MarGo throws it into the event?
No, they still have to go to their friends list and choose.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who still aren't in Facebook, believe it or not.
Oh, I know.
Or they're there, but they only, like my mother has an account so she can keep up with us.
The kids, yeah.
But she doesn't use it.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, and that's where your host knows best. Right. I know of my friends who has Facebook and who doesn't. So once we say create the event, this is what you will see. And this is going to be where you might start to feel overwhelmed as you're using this. But don't worry about that, because it's really not that bad. So what you can do here, let's say you had the event information changes. You can come in here and make some edits. So let's say you had a co-host and it was going to be at the host's house. Now it's going to be at the co-host. You can come in here and change that.
Nice.
Your host contact information, you may have entered in the wrong phone number. You can come in here and adjust the phone number.
Okay.
And you will see right here where it says resend invitation.
Nice. I was wondering about that. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So because, and this happens more so with Gmail than any other email. Because Gmail has the pre-set up filters. So you have your inbox, you have social, and you have promotions.
Yes.
This is going to come in most likely as social.
Okay.
So if you have someone using Gmail, but they don't know how Gmail works, they're going to say to you, I didn't get that invitation.
Got it.
I never got your invitation when you sent it to me on Friday. You can always resend the invitation from this page, and you can resend it as many times as you need to resend it.
To the whole group? It'll go to the whole group?
No, this is only for the host.
Oh, for
so right here you can see it says the host contact information.
Okay, got it.
And that email goes to the host so they can enter in their guests. And now let me real quick, I'll pull up my Gmail and show you what that looks like.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think I showed the team that the other day, kind of did a little overview. And my sister Esther is going to do a party in Homeland. And she was like, wow, they even sent me, all the hostess had to do is click on it, you know, so.
Right. Yeah. So here we go. We've got, let me find it. Let's make the most of your party. That's it. Oh, that's the socialgram. Sorry.
Oh, okay, socialgram.
I can show you that one too. Here it is. Thanks for hosting.
Okay. Yep.
So this is what it looks like. This is the event that I picked. And then they just simply click here to add their guests. When they do, it takes them to, and I'm going to say no to this because I don't want to mess up what I'm doing.
Okay.
But anyway, it takes them directly to MarGo where they would be prompted to create an account.
Nice.
Because I'm already logged into MarGo, it's going to take me in. So keep that in mind. If MarGo doesn't seem to be working right, make sure you get logged out if you're trying to get back into it, you know, through an email or that type of thing.
Okay.
So this is what it would look like. It would have your theme picture, which here, if you ever, you know, if you choose the theme and then you decide to change it, you can still come back in and do that.
Oh, okay, cool.
By clicking edit theme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where you're seeing this image, it would be the turn back time image.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, they're all like thematic all the way across. So this most likely would be blue, and this button might be blue or pink, and it just looks pretty.
They're very pretty because I've done 2 parties now, and they're different. They're pretty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are back at the theme. I'm going to take us back to the overview at the party. And on the left-hand side, this menu bar that goes down, these are all of your options within a theme. So you want to make sure when you're using MarGo that one way to verify, you know, if you're working in here and you can't remember which event you're in, it's going to show you the path. So it's going to show you you're in events, you're in Sarah Lynn's event, and you're on the overview page.
Nice.
When I change that, it says now I'm on the theme page.
Oh, I love that. What a wonderful program this is.
I'm so glad you like it. We made it just for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we really did. We made it just for every one of us that uses it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so when you have guests, when your host has gone in and done her part and added guests, they would all show up right here. And it's going to have whatever information she had selected. So if it's, you know, if it's me and a cell phone number but no address, you will know exactly what your host has put in for her guests. Guest activity is where it's gonna record who has replied, who has RSVP. And then the last one, guest attendance, and I'll just add in one quick guest to show you this.
While you're doing that, I'll say this too. From what my brain is teaching me, I think that once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll come in and set my parties up and kind of get things situated. Then what I see myself doing is I check everything through my phone because it's super, I check to make sure it was easy to see on the phone, and it is. It's very checkable on the phone. I would prefer to type it on my computer, but I love that the two talk. That's fantastic. So.
Yeah, and you can go in and put dummy information in here just to see how it works.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a cool thing is to do a test with a family friend or something, you know, that can.
Yeah, or even with yourself if you have a different email account you can use.
Okay, I do.
Yeah, just do it with yourself. I like that because then you know what it's like to be a host, and you know what it's like to be a guest.
Good idea.
Or to be a consultant.
We should do a team party test kind of thing a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. And if you let MarGo know if you want to do, you know, upgrade it and use some of the $5 features. Mm-hmm. If you let MarGo know that you're doing that as a test, most likely they would waive that $5.
Oh, okay.
I can't promise you they would, but I can tell you they probably will.
The cool thing about that is on MarGo, underneath our pictures, there's always a support tab from what I can see. And that has been awesome too, the support to have that. Because some systems nowadays are so tech that you can't get a hold of a person to save your soul, you know. So,
right. Right here.
Right, yeah.
You click on that support tab, it's a live link. Anywhere when you're even, I believe even when you're just on the MarGo login page, you still have that.
That's awesome. Nice job,
it's not a secured site, it's just a website.
Okay.
Okay, so back to our guest attendance. Once you have guests listed in here, this is where you can come in and record your attendance. You know, yes, Wendy attended and she placed an order. She does want to book a show, so you just tell it yes or no, basically. Okay. So you have booked as an option, you have a verbal commitment, you're engaging in conversation, she's interested, or no, she said no.
Wow.
So whatever that guest says, or if you want to leave it blank, you can leave it blank.
Okay.
The recruiting would be the same if they're interested in your business opportunity. And then if you want to export this to a CSV file, and then you import it into an Excel spreadsheet, that may be how you track your potential hosts and new consultants. We give you that ability as well. And then you just click save, and it saves that information. Now, under guest activity here, you can see, because these are all of the options that are available with this show, you can see that nothing has sent yet. When it has sent, your check mark turns green and your 0 turns into a number.
Wow.
So it could be you've sent the invitation twice, or typically you will only send that invitation once, but you may have someone who says, oh yeah, Wendy didn't get her invitation. And you can say, oh, well, let me go in real quick and I'll resend it to her. And it tells you what communication has gone out with the check mark. Now, if you get a red X, I think it's a red X, that tells you there's something wrong. Okay, so there could be a typo in an email.
Okay.
Transpose numbers in a phone number, that type of thing. And if you want to change the RSVP response, you know, your host says, oh, Wendy called me today and said she can come. You go in to your guest activity and you can change that right here from this page. And then if you want to record how they notified you, we give you that option. You don't have to do it. You don't have to tell us how. That's completely for your information.
Okay.
Some people are very detailed. Others, like me, are very high level.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Now that has the guest information recorded in it. And then, like I said, once you have guests, this is what it looks like. The email, the phone number, the address. If you didn't put an address in, it would just be blank.
If there was no phone number, your virtual or online, whichever one you do, don't mess with the address?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no need to.
All they need
Anyone who places an order that you're going to, want to have their address, I send holiday cards at the end of the year.
Okay.
Then you can go in, if that's something you do as a consultant, you can go in and add that in later.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to add it in at the beginning.
We'll have that information when they order from Jora, because it snaps
exactly
there, and then we could put it here if we needed to.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, or if you have certain hosts that are great hosts and you want to send them, a flyer that shows what the new products that were just released are, that type of thing. Okay, so we've covered the event creation and how you handle the guest list, and now I'm going to move into pre-event campaigns. And this is where people are like, oh, don't worry about that. It's not, it is a lot of words and a lot of options, and I would love to see this become more icon oriented, but for now it's just a list.
Okay.
So let's say we had selected no when we set the event up, that we were going to enter our communication dates later.
Okay.
This is where you do that.
Got it.
So again, you'll see your invitation, your midway reminder, and your final reminder. And I didn't turn it off for the final reminder, so you can see it's scheduled. The default time, and you cannot change this when you set the event up, you have to come into the pre-event campaign to change it, is for 5 a.m. I think that's entirely too early. So I go in. I'm lucky if I'm out of bed by 8.
Oh, yeah. Hello. No, that's just rude.
So exactly. So if you want to change that, now this is an email. So most likely that's not going to wake someone up in the middle of the night. you can come in here and you can tell it what time of the day you
Okay.
want for it to send. So I'll just change it to save. And now you can see here, the final reminder has been scheduled for 10 a.m. on the 5th. Your text message is scheduled for 9 a.m. on the 5th. I believe they've changed this time because people do. I sleep with my phone next to my head.
Absolutely.
And I'll get an alert when I get a text.
So this is my question on this page so far. So we're setting all these schedules, and then so it'll be the same. It's only the 3 different messages, but it could come in 2 or 3 different ways per person. So they would get it. Okay, love it.
Yeah, all these options that you see right here are all of the options that are available. So let's say you did not upgrade this to have your text message, your voice, and your mail. These 3 would say upgrade right here. Instead of send now or schedule.
Okay. And that's nice because you can make that decision later. If it's going to where I need it now, I can make that decision later.
Right. And you can upgrade your event at any point before the event is over.
Okay.
So you don't have to select that $5 until you know for sure this is going to be features that your host uses.
Awesome.
Okay, so in here, let me show you what these look like. So for your invitation, what the edit is, it is at the very top, and you have to scroll to see the whole thing, but this is what the email is going to look like that they get. Okay. So you have that beautiful image at the top, you have all the information, and then there's another pretty image at the bottom.
Cool.
And it all coordinates. Unable to make it, click here to order online. So where you put in the ordering link, that gets embedded in the words click here.
Where we put in our websites.
Yeah. And if it was, you can see right here, it says the ordering URL. I just made that up. So of course it's not going to show, that as a valid website. But if it was a valid website, it would take you right to that website. So it's very easy for the guest as well. Now let's say you want to make, some of these words up here, you want those to be different. You just simply keep scrolling down a little and you can go into these fields and you can make your changes.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Make a change. Click save at the bottom. And once it's saved, then it takes you right back. So let's say, whoops, I wasn't done. Let me go in and make some more changes.
Okay.
You can keep going in and out as you want.
Awesome.
And then I have here we go. And then you can send yourself a preview. So when you send a preview, down here where it said, send preview, it goes to you.
Okay.
And I like that because I like to see what it looks like.
Yes.
Before I send it out to everybody.
So.
Yeah. Yep. And then you're done. So you're going to click save. And then you would schedule. If it was, like, oh shoot, this party is next Wednesday, let me just send that now. If your guests are loaded in here, you can go in and click, send now and select all the ones. Now, if this email had already sent, it would say, send one. So you can see anyone that has not received it and then go in and click send.
Yay.
However, if your host adds 10 people today, those will mail today. If your host adds 5 more people tomorrow, it will automatically email tomorrow.
Awesome.
So as they get added, they automatically mail. So you don't have to go in and see, oh, did MarGo, did my host add 5 more people or however many, and oh, now I have to go send it. It's all automated for you.
Truly, this system is a dream, like totally a dream of what we've needed all these years. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, you can see that there's the text message. So if you would use that feature, this is what your text will look like when it comes to your phone. This side is where you edit. You can see the main thing that isn't right here is this RSVP. So this tells you that you cannot take that out. We are legally required to include that information. But everything else before it, you can Make it say whatever you want. It's
Right.
the characters, you're only limited to 160, which really isn't a whole lot, but
No,
you shouldn't be having
no,
much more than that. You may want to add in here, be sure to check your email.
that's right. Mm-hmm.
And text messages have a 97, I think it's a 97% read rate,
Wow.
where an email has about 20.
Yeah.
The text messages are effective.
I know.
Even if you're not using the automated text, you want to make sure your host is using the socialgram.
And you know, $5, if you think about it, if you get one extra client or 5 extra clients and one person places an order, it is so worth it. So
Yeah, it pays for itself.
right, it does.
So just keep that in mind. And you may want to, you know, do a little test for yourself once you really get going with these, your parties, and do some with it and some without that text feature, and then compare your results.
That's a good idea.
See,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do your own data research and see if it's really helping you.
Mm-hmm.
So your PDF handout, if you were to use that instead of a mailer, this is what it looks like.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty. When you download and print it, this RSVP is it's all gonna space out better
Wow.
than what you see right here. This is because we just have so much room on the screen.
Right. But all the information's right there for them.
All the
And
information.
I didn't have to type it and make it, and oh my word.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And now your socialgram.
Okay.
So this is what the socialgram looks like.
Pretty.
So this is going to be the image that you will just, when you receive it in your email on your phone or your host receives it, she can just pick that image, drag it out, and it will save to her desktop. It will save to her pictures, wherever she puts it. And then she can send that out to her friends.
Okay.
And you could also have it just go to you, and then you send it to your host and tell your host what you want them to do with it.
Nice.
And there are some hosts that are going to know. They can save a picture right from email. There are going to be some hosts that think they have to have it in a text message to send it in a text message. So you may be asked to send them this through text. So it's good to have that yourself.
So they can forward it on. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yep. Or just make sure you send it to them both ways.
Yeah.
But that's really completely up to, you know, your host and how technologically inclined they are.
Right.
This is what the socialgram looks like. Now, when it comes into your host's email account, this is how it comes in. Okay? So we even wrote your email for you. And this right here where you see Janet, that will fill in with your host name. So that's a merge field.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this is Pampered Chef. That's the company that I represent.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the instructions on what she can do with it. It includes the Facebook link. It includes the link to place an order. And here's the image. So if I wanted to download this, let me see if I can get it. You can see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. So there it is.
Wow.
And then this right here, this to me looks a little bit ugly. And Sarah Lynn, you can show them how to use Tiny URL to make this look better.
I will. That was cool too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like when your host gets it, and you get the same exact information.
Okay.
When you send the socialgram, everything goes to you. That goes to your host.
Yay.
The other thing that I will say is go in to your guest list and add yourself as a guest. And the reason I recommend you do that is that every time MarGo communicates, if you're in here as a guest, you're going to know that those 10 people just got the same information, and it may prompt you to get in touch with your host. The more we talk to our hosts, the more successful our parties are, regardless of our brand.
For sure.
So it will prompt you, oh, the second email just went out. Let me get in touch with her, however that is. And, so how, I see that our second email went out. I'm just very excited. How many RSVPs do you have if you haven't gotten that information from her in a while? Because she'll have people who call her and say, oh, I'm so sorry I can't make it, and she may not think to go put that into MarGo. So it's just a great way for you to remember to stay in touch, to prompt you. Okay. So now we go back into pre-event campaigns. So I think the word campaigns is what kind of confuses people. Just think of it as communication, pre-event communication.
Okay.
Everything that you see that I went over with invitation is basically the same for the midway and for the final.
Okay.
So you can see the features that you wouldn't use. You wouldn't use the mailer again. So that's not going to be an option here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we default to invitation and final, and we leave midway blank because, if you have enough time, if your event is in a month, you may want to send a save the date through the invitation now.
Oh.
In 2 weeks, you may want to send a reminder. And then before the event, you want to send a final. So it allows you to go ahead and schedule that all at once and be done with it. And then when you're a guest, you know that it's going out.
Okay.
And so then you have the post-event campaign. So I showed you that page, or this right here, guest attendance. So once your event has passed, you will want to come in and record this information, or maybe not record any of it and just close your event. But as soon as the event date passes, when you log into MarGo, it's going to say, Sarah Lynn's event is ready to be closed. Do you want to record attendance, or do you just want to close this event now? You can just quickly close it and then go back in later and record the attendance. So we don't make you have to stop what you're doing and spend 10 minutes looking at all the orders and recording who came and who ordered and who's interested. You can do that later.
I have a question for you. As a pampered chef consultant,
yes.
What would you say is the best time frame to have a party? Because in home, and then you said you guys have online ones, the option to online.
Yeah.
What would you say to give yourself a good amount of time for your hostess? Because our hostesses are all asking that right now.
Okay.
We're setting these up.
The best time?
Time framing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's going to be a regional thing. I live in the Bible Belt.
Okay.
Everybody goes to church Wednesday night, so that's not a good option here.
Uh-huh.
So you may know of, regional things like that may affect attendance.
Okay.
Saturdays tend to not be a good day.
Okay.
Depending on the demographic that your host is in.
Okay.
So if they have kids that are doing sports, Saturday's not an option.
Okay.
So you have to think about things like that. What I do is, me personally, I will sit down, I will look at all the days that I have available, and then I will say, okay, what date do you want? You want a Tuesday? This is the next date I have. And for a weeknight party, always in the evening, for sure. Because even if it's, a stay-at-home mom, and those can be very successful. If they have a group, a mom's group, and they want to get all of their friends together while their kids are in preschool, that may be a perfect time to do that. So it really does depend on the host. But I find the majority of my events happen 6:30 or later during the week.
Okay.
And then Sunday, 2 o'clock or later.
Okay.
Anytime between 2 and 5.
And then the next question. Okay, cool. Then the next question to grow on that, when it comes to an online party, how much time frame? Like, do you say 2 weeks, to close, 3 weeks to close?
No, you want to keep it fairly short. So you probably have experienced the more time you give people to make a decision, the longer they take.
Okay.
So 7 days would be plenty. The parties that I'm doing, we just went from 9 to 7. I'm trying to think, is it 6 or 7?
And then 7 from the day you open the Facebook page and start dropping things in? Just 7 days, not like
7 days
ahead of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But in there, how I work it personally is, in my 7 days, I will have 2 days where you're just it's kind of like, you're sending your save the date and you're letting people know, and maybe you only post 3 or 4 times in the first 2 of those 7 days. But then on day 3, you may start, really doing your product posts and your interaction posts and that type thing.
And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but if I'm not mistaken, we set like one of these up and then we can kind of use it to mirror parties going forward, correct?
Right.
There's,
Right.
that's called a campaign, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It sounds a little overwhelming, thinking, oh my gosh, I got to come in for 7 days. I'm going to go to, but that's just not how it's going to be. And we're getting way too much information at the moment, but it's good for you to know so your brain doesn't shut down right now, that these are things that we will teach you how to do. I don't even know how to do that yet. Wendy's going to teach us next week more.
Yeah, the Facebook aspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done here. And now I'm talking about all of this because you can't start your post-event campaigns until you've closed your event.
Got it.
So just like you have your pre-event communication, you're going to have post-event communication.
Okay.
So check out all these options that you have. I don't have these options. I have this one. That's all I have. I'm so jealous that you all can go in and set up your communication.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Are you familiar with Belinda Ellsworth?
Yes.
Okay. So she trains 2 + 2 + 2.
Yeah, we do too, yes. Mm-hmm.
This is your 2 + 2 + 2 right here.
Wow.
So, and don't think of it as 2 days after, because we all know that you want to get back in touch with those people right away.
Right.
So here you can, and based on your guest activity, and this is why you have to record your guest activity before this will kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Based on who did not place an order,
right.
You can come in here and you can make this email say, oh, come on, there it is. It will say, thank you. We just wanted to let you know that if you're planning to place an order, you have this much time.
Wow.
For those who did place an order, it is going to say, thank you for your order. If you want to add, you have this much time until we close the event. If you thought of something you meant to order and you forgot, that's pretty common. You go in, you get overwhelmed with all this awesome new stuff, and then you forget what you meant to get. Like going to the grocery store, you needed eggs and you bought a cart full of everything and left your eggs at the store. Kind of the same deal. And then your out of the box would be, like the 2 week and the 2 month. So once you know they've gotten their products, you have a consumable product, you may want to come in 2 weeks, say, word this to say, I hope you're liking what you ordered. If you have any questions, please let me know. Once all of that communication has happened, you can come back into this event, even though it's in the past, and you can change this up to say, it's been 2 months. I just want to check back in. If you used up all of your whatever product, did you need to place another order, that type of thing. So this, you just keep using this and using it until you don't need to use it anymore. Karen likes that too.
Yeah, this is true. I haven't seen all this, you guys. I obviously am learning this the first time at the moment. It's awesome. Oh my word.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what we have as far as communication goes.
Okay.
Now, the third piece of communication is the Facebook event itself. And this is what Sarah Lynn mentioned. We'll get into more detail about this. But I had gone in, created this Facebook event, and you can post to events. You can post in groups. So if you have a VIP group, you can go in here and schedule your posts in your VIP group. Wow. And if you have a business page, you can schedule posts on your business page as well. So you could sit down on Monday, get all your scheduling done for the week, and you're done until the next Monday.
You can go on vacation to Germany for 2 weeks. Because Karen,
it looks like you're working the whole time.
It looks like you're working the whole time.
Exactly.
So, oh my word, this is so fantastic.
Yeah. So here, Sarah Lynn had asked me the other day, do I have to create a new event for every host? Yes, you definitely want to do that. It's, it's the same as you wouldn't go to my house for my friend's event. So think about it that way. An event is the virtual location, just like a physical location. So if, I have 2 friends that schedule their own parties, you wouldn't come back to my house and have that party. You would go to theirs.
So tell us why you would make an event for a virtual or online party versus a group for a virtual or online party.
Okay. Events are an opt-in. They give the person who's invited the chance to opt in. So for Facebook best practices, you have to allow your friends the opportunity to say yes, no, or maybe. It's just like with a text messaging, because you are representing a brand. If you have a group, you must have their permission before they add you.
Mm-hmm.
So no one's ever going to report you for inviting them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you dump them into a group and they didn't ask to be there, they can report you as a spammer.
Right.
And then Facebook can block your account. And you don't want that to happen.
So we're protected in the direction of MarGo to make sure we're in best practices since we're new to this.
Right. Yep. And your groups are VIP groups.
Right.
Those are customers, you know, they bought from you. It is safe to assume if they have ordered a product from you, they're okay hearing from you.
Right.
If there's not any issue with putting them in a group, once you have had that opportunity to communicate with them directly.
Nice.
And then the pages is your, you know, your business page if you have one.
Yep.
So once you've created your event, you would come in here. Now, let's say you had created your event while you were setting up your MarGo event. You would have to click refresh event list before you would see it in your list. But if you created it before you came into MarGo, it's automatically going to show.
Yeah.
So right here, I have it set up as a True Aura demo. And I'm choosing that, and now I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to make that go away. And so right here, now I'm connected to the event. So if I want to remember which the event name is, you can tap on the Facebook event link, and it will give you the name of that event.
Wow.
If for some reason you connect to the wrong event, you do have to kind of start from scratch.
Okay.
So make sure you're connecting to the correct event.
Yeah.
If you want to go into Facebook and see, can you see this pop up? I'm not sure if you see it.
We see the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the different colors. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't see the little window that popped up. That's okay. But if you click this, you'll get a pop-up window.
Okay.
And it will show you this right here.
Okay. Okay. So we make sure we're in the right spot that way with that text.
Right. Yep, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Calendar. I don't know where this event is. Here it is.
There it is.
Go on Monday.
Oh.
So if when you're in here and you say, click here to go to the Facebook event, a pop-up window comes up with this.
Okay. Nice. Mm-hmm.
And now this is where we'll spend more time the next time.
That's right.
But this is where you can go in and let me grab one post from the personal library.
And the cool thing about this is True Aura has made all this stuff for us.
They
don't
have
to do any of this. So these will be tools that we will use as the party goes along, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And here you can see where we have these double.
Right.
That is a merge field.
Right.
So that grabs the consultant business name. So that's going to grab your information that's loaded into your details of your account when you set it up. It's going to grab the host name. So you have a different event for each host. It's going to grab the different host name. It's going to grab the ordering link.
Personalized.
And there are other merge fields as well. So I'm just going to grab one of these just so you can see it. And I'm going to select that and add it into the event. So right now you can see I just went to corporate post library. I picked the one I want. I come down and say select, and it brings it in to this event for me. Now it stays here as unscheduled until you scroll down and you tell it when to post. And you can, this field gets on my nerves because let's say I wanted to post this at 12. You have to type in all caps AM or PM.
Okay, good to know.
Dumbest thing ever.
They'll fix it.
Whatever, they'll fix it. That's right. That's a minor thing. It'll just get on your nerves. Mm-hmm. But what I would like for them to do is when you tap here, it brings you the list of times.
It does on other screens in this system.
Yeah, in the schedule screen. Yeah, the schedule screen for the communication. Right. So that's my suggestion to them is please pop up the list for us.
They will.
And then the date to post, if you tap in there, it does pop it up for you. Okay. So you don't have to manually type that. And then let's say save. Well, now your scheduled tab is empty because we've scheduled it. If it wasn't, it would say 1, 2, 3, however many you have left to schedule.
Okay.
And then your scheduled tab shows you the date and the time that it's scheduled, the picture, and, you know, a brief overview. If you want to see the full wording, you just simply click that little box and it shows you the full post.
This is what True Aura has been doing until they got this open. Like, we're like, how, give us MarGo. But this is what they've been doing, is preloaded and making all these tools for us before they opened it. So that
right.
Now
and then
use it.
And then MarGo has to have the time to go in and load it all up.
Correct.
And we spent a week testing everything to make sure it all worked correctly. You know, 5 different people trying to mess it up the best that we could just to make sure it couldn't be messed up.
Awesome.
So let's say you added one that you didn't want to have. You have the ability to remove that.
Okay.
You say, oh, wait, I told it the wrong date and time. You can click on edit. You can go in and change that as well. Okay.
So this is the thing that you were saying, like have 2 or 3 going in a day, like Tuesdays. You could sit down one day and choose your party lays out. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'll give you some strategies on how to organize Facebook posting and, you know, campaigns and that type of thing. Those are called campaigns as well.
Okay.
But I will give you some strategies so that you're not having to like recreate the wheel every time.
Okay, good. But my mind's going to blow up today. You understand that you don't have to teach us that today.
No, it's already 11:51 my time. We've been on for about an hour and 20 minutes.
I know. We need to let you go. My goodness, you're on vacation with your kids.
Oh, it's fine. They went to the store. I'm home alone.
All right.
That's the beautiful thing about working virtually. I can do it anywhere.
You agree. I let my dogs in and out 3 times. You know how it is. We're right there at the family.
Yeah. And so here you have tips as well. So if you want to go in and research this before we talk next week, you can come in and watch any of these videos.
Okay.
They tend to be longer because it's more complicated.
Sure. We need it to be longer because it's more information.
Yeah, but you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos here.
That's awesome. And a total of like 20 minutes. So that's easy. Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like you've got enough?
We do. Thank you. And this is the second time I heard a lot of it, and it just gets more and more exciting. And you could tell when I was learning more because I was having to hold my head. It was so exciting. So thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you like it.
Yeah. You know what else I love about you, Wendy, is that you are a consultant with a company, so you're living the experience and you're using it, so you know what needs to be tweaked and what needs to be, you know, adjusted, and gives us real life stories of how to make our parties go faster and easier. So MarGo's smart in hiring people that are in the field, you know, to guide us then. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, so the CEO of MarGo, his name is Dean Yelitz. His wife, Kathy, was a consultant at the time that MarGo was born. She was a national executive with Pampered Chef.
Oh, okay.
And her nephew came, was, you know, at her house, and he was seeing her do all the busy work that we're talking about, you know, writing out the invitations and putting stamps and taking it to the post office. And he said, you know, Aunt Kathy, I think I could come up with write a program to do all that for you. So here we are, 5 years later. It's only been, 2012 to 2018. It hasn't even been 6 years yet, because the first time I spoke, and I was a direct consultant with Kathy, which was how I got pulled in. So I'm just lucky. Truly, I'm just lucky. I got pulled in then to help them do some things that they were in the process of automating, but they weren't automated yet.
Wow.
And so anyway, I helped him back in 2012, and then he contacted me in October and asked if I would be interested in coming on, you know, as an employee again to do what I'm doing right now. So heck yeah.
Tickled to have that.
Heck yeah, I'll do that. This is the only program. You can look you could look all day and all night. This is the only full service program. There are plenty of programs that will allow you to create an image for a party. There are plenty Evite to allow you to invite people. There are plenty that will allow you to post in a Facebook event, but there is not one other than MarGo that puts all of that together in one place. So that's what makes us so unique.
We're tickled. And then we've got a few extra options because we're kind of the new girls on the block that they've created a few options for.
Well, yeah, you get all the new bells and whistles, you know, and as a consultant, there was a conversation, goodness, back in November before Truara committed, you know, why would we want to have in-home virtual and online? And I'm like, are you kidding? You know, yeah, you want to be able, so I was able to help
thank you.
Executives understand the benefits of giving us all those options.
Well, thank you. We're tickled about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to hit stop record so that because everybody's asked questions as we've gone along, but we're tickled to what we've learned today. And thank you so much, Wendy. I'll stop recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoops. I think I'll stop recording.